Rebecca, thank you so much for getting together with me. I've so enjoyed speaking with you, and you and I are hearing similar things. Our parents are having challenges being at home, working at home, and educating their kids at home. So tell us a little bit about, as a school psychologist, what are you hearing from your parents?
Absolutely. I am hearing all of the above, that parents are now faced with this really tall order of meeting the needs of their family during the day, whether that be meal prepping or feeding young kids, even older kids, trying to encourage healthy eating habits in a stressful time. So thinking about their family's needs, but while also having to work from home and trying to be productive in that fashion. So just the level of stress that people are experiencing right now resonates with me. I have, 4 kids myself at home, and it's challenging, but I do have some ideas on how we can slow our thinking down and practice some strategies that can help us, take a day at a time, and also increase our skills at managing all of these demands at once.
It strikes me that creating schedules, creating some predictability, having routines, and maintaining a positive mindset, as you said, having strategies to cope with the stress is really important. So let's just start, with what you're telling your families about structure, routines, and schedules.
Sure. Well, the first thing is that parents often feel a lot of pressure, is what I'm hearing, a pressure to recreate the incredible learning that is happening for their kids in schools and in regular classrooms. And I believe that is too much to ask for a parent. They're not trained teachers, and it's okay. So a little bit of self-compassion and simplifying, I think, is what we need when we think of what our schools and our teachers are intending for this time of remote learning or distance learning. I think we have to simplify a little bit and to think about how do I set up a structure for my child that is both organized and creates predictability, but also at the same time is flexible enough that I can give myself a break if things change, and that my child also isn't feeling this enormous burden of, I have to do math and science and English and art and PE, and it's going to feel like a lot. So we want to have our goals be to keep our kids engaged, to have them feel connected to peers in school still, because social distancing, sometimes we worry about social isolation and the lack of connections that we might be feeling right now. So setting up a routine and a schedule is really helpful, but also building into it flexibility and adaptability. I think those are the main goals that we want to achieve. And I think it really depends too on the age of our children. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
I totally agree with you. Well, I work in an intensive dyslexia and ADHD treatment clinic. And so our kids have unique needs, and they really rely on a lot of the interpersonal interaction with their teachers and their therapists in order to create a well-structured, healthy, caring day. So we've been trying to provide them schedules. I know that you have a schedule kind of for the older kids, and I wrote a schedule for the younger kids, like the elementary school aged. And I think that building into those schedules calm, connected relationship time is really important. I find that I wake up in the morning like so resourceful and making everyone breakfast, and my college kids are home, and then I interact with the patients in our clinic, and then by the evening I'm like, I think I'd like to watch Netflix. So today, in order to prevent that distancing that can naturally happen, I said to my daughter, I said, let's do a little yoga, like at 4 o'clock. So building in these resets. And then with the younger children, and I think you agree with this, building in, I'm going to be on the computer from 10 to 11, and you're going to be doing this, and we're going to meet at 11 o'clock, where we're going to meet, what we're going to do, building in previewing and kind of future thinking 1 hour at a time, I think can be helpful. Can you add to that a little bit?
Absolutely. I think that predictability and still encouraging our kids' autonomy is really important right now. Having them feel successful at taking on a whole day of remote learning on their own is going to be a great feeling during this odd, new routine that we have set up for them. So part of that predictability, I think, is knowing what you'll be doing at the same time. So I almost think of it can be as simple as 2 columns of what are the things, the moments of their day, and they can be structured around the basic important things like wake up time, sleep time, meal times. Those things, as much as we can make them regular for our kids, and exercise and maybe hopefully time outside if the weather's okay, getting a little fresh air can be so healthy. If we structure the rest of our day around those times, around those important things, and also have kids know that during the time when their work or their what they'll be doing is independent, that may also be a time when your work is going to require your concentration. I think it's helpful for kids to know that, while you're doing your independent reading for the next 30 minutes, mommy's going to be in a Zoom meeting, and it would be really great if I can concentrate on that for this 30 minutes. Predictability, autonomy. Also, kids in school, I hear my teachers say often, check 3 that before me. 3 then me. And that's just to encourage kids' independent work in the classroom. So 3 places they may check for an answer or something that they need to know before they ask the teacher they could ask someone else. So if there are siblings in the home, let them lean on each other and support each other as well. They could have, a textbook or a word bank, or you could develop some strategies for places they could look. Maybe it's the dictionary, or maybe it's, another resource that you brainstorm together. And then they could also have a list of, especially if it's around technology, having trouble logging on, you could pre-brainstorm the list of strategies for that so that they're able to try 3 things before they come and get you. Having a predictable schedule for both adult and child can be helpful in managing all of the demands on everybody right now.
I really love how your problem solving strategy and your, let's meet in the morning and look at what's going to happen. Let's meet at lunchtime and look what the afternoons. Let's meet at the end of the day and talk about what worked and what didn't work. I think that all of that problem solving and mastery you're talking about is really good for brain literacy. And I think that if parents knew that if we can just stay calm and we can collaborate and not feel like everything's an emergency, like my kids might knock on the door right now, and I just can calmly say, okay, I'm in a meeting. And if we could just be that way, we're all going to end up kind of better on the other end, because we'll be building our children's thinking skills, we'll be building our high quality relationships, and we'll all be learning together as we weather this very unique and complicated time.
Yes, I so agree. And it reminds me of one other point, is that in our adult professional worlds, I think we all hold ourselves to such high standards that when you apply those wonderfully high standards to a completely unknown thing like remote learning and working from home and quarantine, it becomes just too much. So not expecting perfection. If children have trouble with the routine and then you have to change it because it's not working, or if it was too rigid, or if it's too flexible, or if they knock on the door, it's all okay. This is a learning process for all of us, and we can learn some systems and structures that not only apply to this moment in time, but like you said, really build those connections in kids' brains and in our own, for how together we can get through this. It's new and it's different, but there are lots of good things about it to think about as well.
Yeah, I have found people to be nicer. I've been reaching out to old friends, just the human, even talking to you. I mean, you and I wrote a book together and hadn't spoken for like a year because we're just so busy in our work and in our lives. So just slowing down, being present, having some structure, providing routines, and reaching out, getting reconnected with people, I think are some of the benefits. Now, there's no one way to tackle any of this, but you and I on our blogs and on our Facebook and Twitter are going to provide some resources, because you've got a schedule for the older kids. I've got a schedule for the younger kids. Wendy Young at Kidlutions did a post on routines last night. And so I really appreciate that we get this opportunity to chat with one another and try to help the best we can for people to cope during this complicated time.
Thank you. Me too. Absolutely. I feel like all of the helpers out there have jumped up, raised their hands, and offered strategies and ideas. And that's where my schedule comes from. It's not my own idea, but I think it was shared in a working group of high school educators. I think it's a great model, and let's share it if it helps anyone out there with teenagers. I'm happy to do that. I think we are better together, all of us.
Mm-hmm. Better together. All right, so I look forward to talking with you soon. I hope you have a beautiful day, Rebecca, and I really appreciate you providing these resources for your community and our community and communities that we have yet to meet.